Lifetime obsession. And hold on, everybody. That guy is Clay Borris.
Yes, it is.
And Clay Borris has brought us a great deal of television, but he has also brought us a film called Quiet Cool, which I know is a little nut hole of a fan film, and Alligator Shoes.
He also brought us Prom Night 4, Deliver Us from Evil, which I watched today.
Why don't you join? Listen, TJ is so excited about this, Clay. So here he is. Okay, TJ, go ahead and fan out, goddammit.
Okay, so I watched your film today. I'm a huge fan of the Prom Night series, and I was going in expecting it's gonna go with the storyline, right? And then you're like, nope, I'm gonna create my own killer, and this is gonna be nuts, absolutely nuts. And I loved every second of it. The score was awesome. The killer was absolutely insane. The moment I saw him whipping himself in that dungeon, I was like, what is going on? And then you turned a religious item into the coolest weapon I've ever seen, and he throws it with such grace and such power.
I still have that.
And you had the balls to crucifix two people on screen, and it's awesome.
Hey, I'm Catholic. I grew up Catholic, so those were tough scenes for me, like going against the church.
Yeah.
It was weird. I'm not a practicing, Catholic, but I knew all those symbols, and that's why I added to them.
It definitely added to the whole lore and the feel of the movie. You did terrific. It's such a fun ride, and I hope that eventually it gets a proper treatment, and we get a nice 2K scan of the original footage, and then we get a nice Blu-ray set, and everyone's happy.
Yeah. It would be nice. Like I remember in the original script, the person that saved the day was one of the boys, and I said, "Why don't we make it the girl? I'm sick of seeing guys win all the time." He's like, "Yeah, but she's wearing a dress and everything." I said, "So what? The house blows up, she goes flying, and she was perfect." So we changed it completely, made it her, the hero instead, which I was happy with.
What's with you and stepping on glass?
Stepping on glass?
She steps on glass on like 2 different occasions in the film.
Oh. Maybe I saw Die Hard or something.
Okay.
I don't know. It fit the situation that she stepped on glass and she couldn't say anything, right?
Yes.
That's the worst nightmare. Like you're cut, you're bleeding, but you can't say a word because the crazy maniac is in the same room as you.
Yes.
I hated it when that happens.
Yeah.
But isn't it great when you have somebody tell you something about a film that you did and you go, what do you mean what glass? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, sometimes you can't remember all the stuff.
Well, the funny thing is, it's like it's when people tell you things about your process that you didn't know because you were so busy doing your process, right?
Yeah.
I had a guy, an art director, one time when I was on Hercules in New Zealand, and he's my art director, and he's talking about all the elements that are in all these different people's styles, right? And I said, and I was just curious, and I said, well, what's in my style? And he goes, oh, yours is really specific. It's this here. And he sits down and he does this little scribble like that on a piece of paper, right? And he says, that's yours right there. And I was like, I swear to God, I couldn't do shit for a week. I was just like, what the fuck? What the hell is that all about? I mean, I kept thinking about that. And you know what? Is this many years later, thinking back, the little fucker was right.
Well, you did a great job on Quiet Cool, that's for sure.
Quiet Cool was fun. Yeah. we did so much. We did so many crazy ass things on Quiet Cool.
Does Clay know about the dummy?
The dummy. Oh, background story, Papa.
Yes.
Did you ever hear about the dummy?
Well, I saw the dummy.
Right.
One in the building that was playing Chris Mulkey.
Right. And then we blew the building up, right?
Yeah, and then I got scenes on video of Chris Mulkey slapping the shit out of that dummy before
the dummy, right?
Yeah.
Mick's gonna come clean to you.
Well, this is a weird story. So that night that we blew the house up, right? And we blew that up, and at the end of the night, the dummy was just sitting out in the middle of the thing out there, and so somebody threw it into the back of my little truck. I had that little 54 Chevy pickup that I bought when I got there for like $400, right? And so they threw that dummy into the back of my little truck. Now, every night, the transpo guys would come in later than we were there, and they would come in, and there wouldn't be any place in the parking lot to park in the motel parking lot. And so they would park right behind us, figuring that they went out first, but a lot of times they didn't. Well, anyway, so that night I have the dummy in the back of my truck, and they put it in a bunch of the special effects stuff in the back of my truck. And I went back to the motel and I pulled up, and I in front of my room, and I was just exhausted, and I went to bed. So in the morning I had to get up early, and I get up, and the bastard driver who had the fuel truck right behind me, right? And I was like, oh, God damn it, they did it again. And so I go out to my truck, and there's the dummy in the back of my truck. And there's a bunch of the effects stuff there. There's like a gallon of the movie blood, right? And so I just took the dummy out and threw it across the top of his white truck, right? And then took took the blood and then just poured it all over the dummy. Put the cap back on, put the rest of the blood back in my truck. And this is dark. I mean, this is like, 5 o'clock in the morning. And I jimmied my way out and finally got out on the road to head back up, this is in Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah.
And I then drove back up into the hills to our location. We get a call on the set up there about 2 o'clock, and saying that I had come into the office. Oh shit! So I had to drive back down into town, and I get in the office, and Ellen Alsobrook, who was the PM, and I sit down and I go, yeah, what do you need? And he goes, listen, one of my drivers is in jail, and I wanted to know if you knew anything about this. And I go, I have no idea what you're talking about. He says, I guess early this morning, and the hotel that we were staying in was right on the corner of the main street, coming in off the freeway.
Yeah.
Early in the morning, when the light finally came up, there were reports into the police station of a body laying on top of a truck that had been hit with blood rolling off of it and stuff. And so they came down, and the cops figured out what was doing, but they were pissed off. They figured out who the driver was, and they just arrested him.
Yeah.
for causing you never heard this story. So
I did, that people were talking about. I remember.
That's right. So
yeah.
Hey, can we
But thanks for bringing it back up. A long time ago. Jeez.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Clay, do you have any good stories about working on Wrong Turn?
Wrong Turn.
Yes, sir.
Fuck. What's his? Director. I ended up doing the second unit because I love doing action.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
This guy had seen Quiet Cool. He was a Quiet Cool fanatic, and he said, you got to do the second unit for me. And I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't. So I ended up meeting who's that famous guy that made all the famous puppets there? He was one of the producers.
Director was Rob Schmidt.
But the guy who was the co-producer is he did the Terminator and all this stuff. He's a famous guy.
Botine?
No, he's really famous. I can't think of his name. Anyway,
Stan Winston?
what I remember about him is that he
Stan Winston's a producer.
Yeah, Stan Winston, that's right. So he comes to me on set and he looks at me, and this was about, what, 15 years ago? So he goes like, so, you're the guy who got the quiet cool, huh? I said, yeah. He said, what the fuck are you doing here doing second unit? I said, because the director asked me, and I like doing second unit. He goes, you sure it's not because your career is like over or something? And I didn't know if he was kidding or not.
Yeah.
Listen, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I work all the time, and I'm here doing this because I like doing action, and I just work with a lot of my buddies and, stuff like that. So I never liked the guy because of that. It was really
well, that'll do it.
You're a little old to be doing second unit, aren't you? A little old.
Little old.
Guy can create a great creature, but kind of a douche.
That's the only story I have on that.
I don't care how nice your dinosaurs look. You're still a douchebag.
Yeah, you're still a douchebag. Jesus. Yeah. Well, I gotta say, on Quiet Cool, man, we had some fun. We got to pull that log through that house, through the cabin.
That came from Disney.
Yeah, I know. I ordered it.
Oh, you did.
That was me. I ordered they kept saying, no, we're going to bring a real log. And I'm up there, I'm going, do you have any idea what a real log weighs? I mean, they said, well, that shouldn't be a problem. And I go, well, it is actually going to be kind of a problem because we're never going to get that thing moved with a little tiny car like that. That just ain't going to happen.
I was so proud of that Disney log. Like I told people for years that story. I worked with Walt Disney.
Oh, that's funny. So
I used one of their logs.
So we had built we built this cabin
out of balsa wood, right?
Well, no, we built a cabin. The cabin out of balsa wood was next to the one that the ends of it were open, and then we put fake ends on it, but the whole thing stood by itself. Okay, which was kind of a trick, to tell you the truth, because we wanted it, because we were kind of like Clay had a really specific set of storyboards set up, and there were camera shots that wanted to see all the way down with everything cleared out, because and we had talked about being a little bit, I don't want to say cartoonish, but a little bit anime style, or kind of cowboy style, like you wanted to see the log go away from you down, and you wanted to be able to see it completely cleared as it crashes out the other end.
Yeah.
Right. You didn't want to see the how the building break in half or just fall over like that, because that's kind of a comical beat on the end of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had long discussions about that, and that it had to stand, which turned out to be quite a little engineering feat.
But it worked out perfectly. I saw the scene. As a matter of fact, last weekend I watched the making of, which I had a girl there filming the whole making of Quiet Cool.
Right.
So there's a whole thing of that night, us talking about it, showing it, shooting it, the whole thing. It's amazing. So I remembered all the work that we went through to get that done. It was amazing.
Oh, it was amazing. And also the way the lighting was rigged up there was so cool. They had a moon light.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And they had rigged it between 3 enormous trees, so that using a triangulation of ropes, that you could literally put the light anywhere you wanted in this enormous area.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah.
But my favorite, though, was burning the house down, because it was talk about things that just kind of went a little bit differently than you thought they were.
Yeah, well, that was a big fire.
It was a fast fire is what it was. We were
Yeah.
We were supposed to catch this. Everybody throws, and I still remember to this day the shot of looking down the row of bad guys, right?
Yeah.
And one guy steps out and takes this ember and throws it up onto the roof.
Yeah.
Now, that was the shot that was the setup for having the effects guy throw the ember up onto the roof, and it had rubber cement on it. And the idea was that we were going to light the fire and then put it out in a couple of minutes, and then do some other shots and then put it out and then put it out. And we had all these cameras running, and it was kind of uniquely built to burn. And I swear to God, they went up. I remember that there was an ordinance that said that we couldn't burn anything for more than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And so they go, the effects guys, all the cameras are rolling. The effects guys throw this torch up into the room and that up onto the roof, and it just went.
No, it was great. It turned out really good. That was my first Hollywood movie, right?
Yeah.
For me, working with all these, like I co-wrote the script. I came up with the idea for the film.
Right.
I wanted to do an action film because I knew that was the only way I would get a Hollywood movie.
Right.
Background, my films were totally different. And so when I put in all those action scenes and all that stuff, I mean, I'm just going, there's no way we're going to be able to shoot this. Why am I writing this? Then I found out all, the Hollywood magic, right?
We do that. That's what we do for a living.
But it was great experiencing it. It's like, wow, here I am doing it. Because I remember when we blew up that cabin, I was there. And I never had an explosion in any of my films before, like ever.
Right.
And I remember this thing going right over my face, and I'm like, "What the?" I must have put so much of that stuff, whatever it's called,
that Primacord. Oh yeah, and the thing is the whole building was made balsa wood.
Yeah, but the building just disappeared.
It just disappeared. Just boom.
Back. I had my camera. I was filming the videotape. The videotape blacks out for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, and it's gone. Right.
Oh yeah, it just then it comes back on.
The cameras were hilarious because the cameras literally caught this flash, and then they caught like basically the roof landing back down again. Went boom, boom.
It was pretty amazing because it really works well in the film. Like you believe these two guys took on the whole fucking motorcycle club. I mean, it's like, wow. That's why we have to come up with ideas that two guys could get rid of everybody. How do you?
Yeah. What do you do? No, it was it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Is this the only time you work with Jacques?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Mary, I'll tell you a quick story. It's kind of interesting. Again, I'm doing my first Hollywood movie, and the first day on set, we're about to shoot. I'm pretty nervous. What the fuck? So James Remar walks up to me. He says, "Clay, I need to talk to you." I said, "Okay." It's 5 o'clock, it's 6 o'clock in the morning. He comes over and he says, looks at me and he goes, "I can't do it." I said, "Do what?" He says, "I can't play a bad guy." I said, "What do you mean you can't play? A good guy?" He said, "I can't play a good guy." "What do you mean you can't play a good guy?" He says, "Well, I've only played bad guys. I mean, fuck, I don't know how to fucking play a good guy." So I'm sitting there going, "Okay, Clay, if there's any fucking God of any kind of us ever come up with something." So I thought for a second. I was like, "Look at Jamie, it's like this, okay? So when you read the script, when you got bad guy dialogue and you read it, you're a bad guy, right?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, when you got good guy dialogue, you read the good guy dialogue, you're the good guy." He looks at me and goes, "Okay, that makes sense. Let's get to work." Scared the shit out of me. can't do it. What the fuck am I gonna do? Replace it with you know? Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I love that story. I never forgot it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I love that you had one of my favorite guys that I've worked with many times, Chris Mulkey, on that show.
Yeah, well, we were very good friends, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, he actually got me. I rented a house right next door to him. We actually shared a fence. We had daughters the same age, you know, so we hung out all the time. And I had met him on the beach, and because I live in Venice Beach.
Right.
I was playing with my kids on the beach, and he walked by with his kids. And I said, "You look familiar." And he said, "Where are you from?" I said, "Canada." He said, "My daughter was born in Canada." You were in what's it called? You know, and he says, "Yeah, I was in Vancouver, doing the film with Stallone." Okay. So we're talking about, what's his name? Not Rocky, the other one. What's his biggest character?
Rambo.
Rambo.
Right.
I recognized him from Rambo.
Oh,
and he's
okay.
Like, I fucking recognize me from that. That's because you're a prick and you fucking look like one. That's why if I did a film, I'd fucking put you as a bad guy in 2 seconds.
Right, you would.
By the way. Anyway, we became friends. We gave each other's phone numbers, and then when I got the film together, called him right away, and I said, "I got a part for you, and all you gotta do is dye your hair red." So, that's why he's got red hair, right?
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So
no, I've always loved working with Chris. He's a great guy.
Yeah, he's a great musician too, huh? Like he plays.
Yeah, he is. He is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Where was I going to go here? So yeah, we all had a lot of fun with that. I got to put my brain back together. You got another question up there?
Yep.
TJ?
Yes, I do. So you did a lot of TV after that. Highlander, Forever Night, Adventures of Sinbad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I ended up in TV, not because I wanted to, but because I had to earn a living, feed my kids and everything. And the funny thing is, I made my one Hollywood movie. And then after that, I've been in the business for over 50 years, right?
Yeah.
After that, I never worked in the States again. I only worked in Toronto and South Africa and Israel. And I worked all over the world, except never worked in the States again. And so what happened was, after I did Quiet Cool, I was hired. They hired me. I couldn't turn it down. They hired me to do a Western called The Gunfighters.
Yes.
With George Kennedy. And it was a
George Kennedy.
Yeah, it was a TV movie of the week.
87.
Shot in Alberta in 87. That's right. And, and like Quiet Cool to me, like I was making a modern Western.
You were making a Western. Yeah. You said that all the time.
All the time. Because I wanted to make a Western so bad.
Right.
When they called me, to do the Western, I'm like, fuck, are you kidding? So I took it right away. And then from that, I got offered TV because they really liked it. And then I said, okay, I'll do a couple of TV jobs. And then next thing you know, and I ended up doing more movies, with Richard Grieco and all kinds of stuff.
Right.
I was all out in Vancouver, but never in the States again. Weird.
Now, what was Kennedy like to work with? I've actually hung out with him before. He's an old cowboy guy. I mean,
Yeah. He's great. I really loved him. Like when we finished the film and it was all over, we had a screening over at the writer's house in LA somewhere.
Right.
The writer was Jim Burns, the guy who used to write Gunsmoke and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And he was fucking amazing. And so we actually watched the premiere, with George Kennedy at his house. And George loved it. And he plays the lead bad guy in it.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh, cool.
I'll tell you a quick story. He when he came to the wardrobe to put on his costume.
Right.
He said, I got these boots here. He said, these cowboy boots. He said, do you mind if I wear these? I wear them. They're very special to me. And I look at him. I said, yeah. He says, like I wore these and I worked with John Ford. I wore these. I said, what?
Yeah.
He had these Western boots, all the Westerns he's been in. So I got down and I kissed each foot. He looked at me. He goes, "Holy fuck, you do love Westerns." Yes. And after that, he kept on calling me sir all the time.
Oh,
Want to call me. He's like 6'7".
Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah,
and I'm like 5'7". Okay, standing next to this guy, it's like a fucking, fucking nightmare. And but he was great to work with. Like,
I have a friend on here, AJ Fryer, and he wanted to know what you thought of spaghetti westerns.
I love them. Well, the early, the Clint Eastwood ones.
Right, the Clint Eastwood ones. Yeah.
I mean, those I like. A lot of the other ones are just not watchable.
Yeah, it's
I'm going to show a picture in this up on screen here, and it should spark conversation. Here, let me pull my. Here we go.
Oh wow! Yeah, yeah. That's my thing. That's from the cover of a magazine called Cinema Canada.
Cinema Canada. Cool.
Yeah, we had the cover. That's my mother and father and my brother. That's
from Alligator Shoes?
No, that's from Rose's house.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you can see it. I got this T-shirt here that says Cabbage Town that I'm wearing right now. You see it?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, right.
I don't know if you can see it, but anyway,
I saw it. Yeah, Cabbage Town.
So I grew up in an area of Toronto called Cabbage Town, and in those days it was the slums in the early '60s and stuff. I grew up there. So anyway, I made this movie about my mother running a rooming house, and it's a docudrama. It won a Silver Hugo in Chicago and everything. But my mother was nominated for Best Actress of the Year for that film. She never acted in her life. Ever.
Oh, that's great.
And the film came out, like it was really well received. I did it for the National Film Board. They're the ones who distribute it. Anytime you want to see it, you just download the National Film Board app. You go on the house and watch it. Yeah. It's about 58 minutes long.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So, so you did a Western. I wanted to ask you a question about Sinbad. You did Sinbad, right?
Adventures of Sinbad. I did the pilot.
Where did you do that?
In Cape Town, South Africa.
Because I did Hercules and started that wave of sort of a modern look at
classic tales,
at the classic Greek classics and stuff. And it's funny, is about halfway through our filming down there, I became aware that somebody was doing something like that, and it turned out to be that.
Yeah, again, when I was offered Sinbad, I couldn't believe it. When you're a kid growing up with that, I mean, wow. I was doing Sinbad. No, really, it was a shock to me that I got to do Sinbad. Like, it was just beautiful. I totally enjoyed it. Yeah, I was there for 5.5 months, and my son had his first birthday in Cape Town.
Ah, there you go. I had 2 daughters that went to school in New Zealand. That went to had these sweet little Aussie accent, sweet little New Zealand accents. And I think that we were down there for 1.5 years shooting the Hercules stuff.
Yeah, well, they're a lot of fun. It's like I filmed in Israel too. A series called Sweating Bullets.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And we shot a lot of it in Eilat, which is at the Red Sea.
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha.
We had a set there, and we were shooting on location. We had up our own stop signs and all this shit.
Was it
post office things?
Was it a period piece or what?
It was a modern guy detective.
Oh, okay, cool.
It takes place in Kimaraya, and and we shot like we actually shot on location for one episode right in Jerusalem. In the old.
Oh wow! That must have been way cool.
That was like the most amazing thing I've ever done in my life. I had to have they had 2 bodyguards with me all the time, because they said people come by and just stab tourists like they're not looking. It happens like that. No, really, I had bodyguards all around me everywhere I went.
Wow.
We're up on rooftop, you know. You're up there filming, and our hero's doing a chase scene, right? He's being chased by the bad guys.
Yeah.
We had to have cops behind the bad guys and cops in front of our hero, because otherwise people thought it was a real chase.
Yeah.
Guys were coming out like you wouldn't believe. People were going like this. Old ladies ready to stab anybody. Because we're up on the rooftop filming all this. It was amazing, right?
God, in LA, we had to protect the populace from the film crews.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just bastards. Film people that work, they're just bastards. We're all bastards. So,
well, I don't know. I used to I got cinematic immunity.
That's what we used to call it all the time.
Right?
Cinematic immunity is what makes you able to stand like this in the middle of 3rd Street, in the middle at 12 o'clock noon, in the middle of like the lunch rush in downtown LA, and go, well, I don't know, and stand here like this and have 4 or 5 people just standing there for the hell of it. Cars going everywhere. Right. That's filmmakers immunity right there.
Yeah. You're walking around with people with guns and everything, and you're in a little circle. And
yeah, you are. You just don't even.
Some people are getting shot, blow things up. And then when you look once in a while, you see like hundreds of people watching you. But
yeah, and you go, "Oh shit!"
Pretty aware of it, huh?
No, that's filmmakers' immunity is a very definite problem, man.
Yeah, a lot of fun though.
Oh yeah. There's nothing like the rush of working on a film. The whole feeling is. What was it that the old saying that the worst day filming is better. The worst day filming is better than the best day doing anything else.
Well, that's probably true. Have you seen Alligator Shoes at all?
I haven't, and you know what? It's really. I was going to try and see it today, and the next, and I.
Just so you know, we had.
Where do I see it?
Okay, we had it redone, remastered, right?
Right.
It looks great. You can see it on YouTube.
Okay.
Under my name, Clay Borris, and very good copy there. So you
I absolutely promise that I will not only get to it this week, but I will call you.
Okay.
And give you a horrible review.
Well, no,
a horrible review. God damn it. Well,
I wrote, directed, and I co-star in the film, and I produced it. So it's my movie all the way, So I'm very proud of it. When I was in the Cannes Film Festival, that was the biggest prize of my life.
I will deem it worthy. I promise.
No, I'm sure you like it enough. It's a good film. I mean, it all takes place in Cabbagetown, so
yeah, there you go. Okay, so we gotta go on and have the rest of our day. I want to thank you for coming. It's been a blast. Yeah. Was this as horrible experience as you thought it would be?
No, it's a lot of fun. I mean, it's I've been on podcasts, for Highlander,
right?
But not talking, whatever,
Yeah, well, this is
well, make sure you send me a copy of this.
Well, here's the problem. The problem is someday we'll have you back.
Well, that's good.
Yes.
I don't mind talking about how great I am for a couple of hours.
There you go.
We need to bring him on with Chris Mulkey and have a reunion.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Chris has actually been on the show.
He has. He started the show playing the ukulele and then started talking about Twin Peaks.
That's right.
Wow. Yeah. Last time I saw him was about 2 or 3 years ago. He came to town.
Oh, that's awesome.
Or something. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is. I'm going to turn it over to the TJ the man.
Okay.
There he is.
Okay.
Well, thank you all listeners, Rabbit Hole viewers, for tuning into another episode of the Rabbit Hole podcast. This is one of your hosts, TJ Bowser. Down there's Mick Strawn, the guy who designed your nightmares. That's Clay Borris, the director. He directed everything. He's great. Thank you for tuning in. Friendly reminder that this audio-only version of this podcast will be available on projectlouder.net, and this is part of the Project Louder podcasting network, home to other great podcasts. Head on over to project.louder.net and search that out. Well, see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'll start watching the show.
There
Thank
you
you.
go. Thanks a lot, Clay. See ya.
Bye.